What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Season 4, Episode 6 of the Culture 316 podcast. I'm one of your hosts and producers, Jordan Nahisi.
Join with Carlito's cousin, Mo. What is up, people?
And it doesn't help that you have the fro, which makes it
I
even
know!
more convincing.
I was like, yo, that's me on camera.
That's on-screen representation. But thank you guys so much for joining us for another episode. Once again, if you are on anywhere podcasts can be streamed, be sure to give us a 5 stars, subscribe, and share the pod. If you're on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We appreciate all of the support and the love. Thank you guys so much for joining the space this past Sunday for Backlash. I wish I could have been. I was there in spirit, but apparently it was a fun time. Mo, thank you so much for holding down the space. I was going to say, how did the space go?
It was so much fun. You were greatly missed. Greatly missed. See, like, I'm very outspoken. You know, it's like kind of like fire and desire, if you will, with this podcast, right? And then you have me, and I'm like over here with the out of pocketers, and you have my friend Zaire, who's like this with the out of pocketers. So the whole chat was just nothing but laughs the entire time. Just laughs, shock value. It was fun. It was crazy. A good amount of people came in and supported us, joined in. A lot of people actually grabbed the mic this time, which made me really happy because some of y'all just be listening. I love that y'all listen here, but I want to interact with y'all. I want to get to know y'all, you know? So, like, that made me happy above anything. So, thank you for showing up to this space. I hope more people show up to the next space and want to talk too, because I had a great time. And Jordan's going to be with us, so yes, looking forward to that.
The next one is going to be great. I think there's going to be 2 back-to-back because we got AEW Double or Nothing and Night of Champions in the same weekend. So, that's going to be a nice little double whammy, and I can make up for the fact that I wasn't there for WrestleMania and for Backlash, so I'm excited for that. But without further ado, we're going to get right into the show because speaking of Backlash, man, WWE presented Backlash live from Puerto Rico this past Saturday, and according to the reviews, the event did not disappoint. But I kind of wanted to know what were your impressions, some of the highlights of the night pertaining to Backlash 2023.
Oh, sure. Honestly, if I had to rate the show out of like a 10, it was like an 8 out of 10 show for me. A lot of the matches hit for me. I would just have like deducted 2. I didn't feel like the triple threat was necessary, even though it wasn't a bad match. It just wasn't necessary for me. But as you said in the last podcast, the whole objective was probably to showcase Bronson Breed. And the other one I would have deleted was Omos versus Seth Rollins, not because it was a terrible match, but it just, to me, like, the show was on a good, just like high, especially with that opener, which we got to get into that. There's been a lot of controversy about that opener match and the reaction. But if you delete those 2 matches and you would have moved Bad Bunny to the end, it would have been a perfect pay-per-view. But those 2 matches and the placement where they put Bad Bunny like being not even second to last, but like third to last, that to me was just weird. That was weird. But the matches were pretty good. Great opener with Sasha and not Sasha, what the fuck? Bianca and Io Sky.
Wrong promotion.
Right, word. Like, what am I doing? Like, it's been that long since I watched wrestling, y'all, that I literally. By the way, for someone that actually came back and to watch this pay-per-view, it was just like a nice way to like dip my toes in. But yeah, Io Sky versus Bianca. Honestly, great opener. It had like the Puerto Rican, to be honest, like because when it came to Bianca and Io Sky, I was watching it, but I'm not sure if Io Sky was just so happy to be in Puerto Rico, but she was moving like a baby face. Like, she was smiling a lot. Normally, for playing the heel character, you got to like do more heel-like actions, omit some of the babyface moves and the aerial stuff to a degree. But she was smiling a lot, and like the Puerto Ricans loved her, bro. Like, they loved her to the point where they was booing Bianca. And that was a whole debacle after, where everyone was like saying Puerto Rico's racist towards Bianca. Listen, bro, as someone that is half Puerto Rican, when I was watching, I felt like Io Sky was the babyface. Just because she was smiling through everything up until she remembered when Bailey and Dakota Kai came out that, oh crap, I'm the heel. I should be doing heel-like things. That's when she kind of switched it. But the entire time, it felt like almost Io Sky was the underdog in the match. Right. It was a great match, great performance. They had very good chemistry with one another, but I expect that because they worked with one another in NXT before. But great match. I love the energy. Did you get to watch it? I couldn't remember.
I did.
You did. I want to hear what was your take on that match.
So the funniest part about it was, so at first, because I heard the whole online debacle,
Yeah.
it wasn't a matter of the PR crowd being racist. Io Sky before WWE was very, very big on the indies in PR in Puerto Rico.
That
And
part.
so because of that, I feel like, because even when you listen to if you watch the match, even the beginning, they were cheering Bianca coming out. So they were happy to see her, right?
Mhm.
But it was just the fact that Io has so much history in Puerto Rico. And I honestly think that that was something that we have to give credit. I feel like that was a Triple H move, because he knows his wrestling. He knows the certain sweet spots and where certain people are going to thrive. And I feel like he was conscious of Io's history in Puerto Rico. And because of that, he was just like, we're going to make this the opening match. And
Yeah.
I feel like the fact that, you know, yes, Io was kind of the baby face
Mhm.
in that match, but it's the fact that Bianca and Io adapted on the fly. Like, they didn't try
Mm.
to like downplay it or make it seem like, no, Bianca's still the face. Like, it gave somebody said this online, it gave John Cena at ECW one night stand.
Not as
Probably a
bad.
lot, not as bad, not as whew, because Jesus, they were lighting John up at one night
They
stand.
threw
But
chairs at this man. Like, you ever
yo,
so mad someone
they
threw a
threw.
chair at you?
I remember there was one time he threw his shirt in the crowd and somebody threw it back. I was like, oh my god, that's so bad. But
Crazy.
I don't think that that was a PR being racist thing. I don't think that that was the case at all. I just
No,
think
that's not what
that
I got.
Io had history there. It's like, it's the same thing if like if Gunter were to do a match for the Intercontinental title in Germany, and
Yeah.
and like he's had a storied history there. So I feel like if he were to do a match there, you know, it would be a little bit different as far as his reception. Even though he's the projected dominant heel, um, he
That
would be
part.
kind of seen as the baby face because the people there love him. But that was my take on that match. But I agree with you in the sense that it was a really, really good opener.
The
Both of them
perfect
are very
opener.
athletic. So yeah.
Yeah. The next match that I have to. Zelina versus Rhea Ripley. Oh my god, can we talk about that opener with the ring gear? Just the entrance with the ring gear and the hair and the flag and just like, ah! I was like, what the entire time. I was so happy. She was so emotional. Like, obviously she knew the booking decision was going to be the booking decision, but she was just so happy to be there. Her family was there. She was just so happy to represent. And she actually had a ring gear on the indies that was like an all Puerto Rican gear. So it was just like
Yeah.
just a more advanced version of it. And I mean, again, like she's from New York as well. If I'm not mistaken, she's from
She's from
Queens.
Queens. She's from
Yeah,
Queens.
and
Yeah.
like just the emotion on her face, just this reminded me just the amount of emotion that Bianca and Sasha had with each other for their match. Like that's how happy and invested she was to be part of this. I don't think Zelina Vega gets enough credit. I personally don't take her that seriously as an in ring competitor, but I love all her contributions to wrestling, especially the WWE, with her being a manager, being such a great this mouthpiece, just to the point where like her presence is so powerful, her look is so powerful, her presentation, the way she carries herself, as little as she is so big and powerful that she like elevates everyone around her, very similar
Yes.
to Melina did for Eminem, and anyone else that she
Mm.
worked with. So I was really happy for her. I know that it made her family smile, everyone else smile. I'm proud that, maybe she's not in a title picture or main eventing, but like all her smaller roles is massive. Big W for her, big W for Puerto Rico. It was so welcoming too. Like even when she lost, like she still stole the show. Like they
Mm-hmm.
let her have that space with the crowd to really take it in. That like, wow, like I'm really representing. Like I am the representation, quite literally. Despite the fact we had Damian Priest and Bad Bunny there, like she really was like the main person I think we kind of focused on for like representing Puerto Rico. So I love that for her. Any takeaways you have from the match or from her look?
So I think the look, the entrance obviously was great. Obviously, that ending shot from that match of just like the crowd chanting "Ole" while she was walking back and smiling. It reminds you that pro wrestling is about moments, and sometimes we get so caught up in who has the belt and who has the long reign that you forget that
Yeah.
it's about these moments. I feel like even though Rhea won the match, Zelina won the moment. And I feel like as you know, there's been so many things that have happened to Zelina Vega over the past couple of years that things have just not gone her way, from her, her exodus from WWE for a little bit to her being scheduled for the 9/11 show and then cutting her match.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, they had remember the 9/11 show in MSG. Her father passed away, unfortunately, in not during 9/11, and she had her match cut. So
And she
yeah,
dedicated this match.
and that she dedicated this match. So like
Yeah.
all of those things that kind of led up to this moment made that moment special. Would I have loved to see Zelina win? Absolutely, because I love Zelina Vega. Zelina Vega is a kingmaker who is royalty herself, in the sense that I personally think that she's the total package. Like, she has a great look. She is a really good in ring. She can wrestle, you know what I mean? And she also can talk on the mic. And so, would it be great for her to win? Absolutely. But just the fact that she was able to have that moment, I think was just very, very significant and important.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the fact that she had that moment. And I love the fact that, all once again, I remember saying this a couple podcasts ago, like when they reformed the LWO, they did it right in time, because just her being, I think, one of the first women in the LWO, whether it was the OG version or the new version, and then to wrestle a match under that LWO banner in Puerto Rico for the SmackDown Women's Championship with someone who, I assume she has really, really good chemistry and camaraderie with, and Rhea Ripley. I think that was a very, very special moment for her. So I love the match. You know what I mean? I think it was great. It was very, very entertaining and engaging. And I'm glad that Zelina Vega had her moment. So that was like my take on that. So
Love that. Love that. The next match on my list, I mean, of course, we have to talk about Bad Bunny.
yes.
Bad Bunny had the whole room shaking. Honestly, the this is such a small moment that popped me, but them pulling out the chancleta. I don't know
Yes.
why that popped me so much, because for some reason I was expecting, since it was Puerto Rico, there was gonna be extra Puerto Rican about it and probably bring
Yeah.
out a wooden spoon and a hanger. I don't know why, but that's what I was expecting. I was watching the match,
She
but he
said
got really
San Juan
excited with
Street
that.
Fight.
Yeah,
She said
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was expecting all that, and whatchamacallit, he got really excited with that kendo stick. Honestly, there was not a single dull moment in the match. Bad Bunny showed the fuck out as per usual. I love, like I said many times before, that he takes all this so seriously. Like, you can tell, like, he wants to be there. You know what I mean? And that if he probably could donate more time to being here, he would be here. You know.
right.
But like I said, like, he came out and I damn near thought he was gonna make it a concert and perform. Like, Puerto Rico was loving it, loving it, loving it, and I love how at the end, just to like throw in some more flavor and fun, they started bringing in some surprises. The one that popped me the most, of course, is Carlito, because I loved him as a kid. All right,
Mm-hmm.
that's my cousin. I don't care what anyone says, that's my cousin. But I love the match. I thought that with the way they celebrated at the end, like, and just again how like the arena was just like eating it up, I just thought that that should have been the ending. And I understand that, you want to like stay on topic with whatever is going to carry on to like Raw, and
Mm.
put like Brock and Cody there. But just to me, I just thought, for the sake of having Puerto Rico, for like the first time in 17 years, I felt like it would have been such a wholesome moment if they would have ended it with Bad
Mm.
Bunny. And I don't understand why they lined it up that way. I don't know. Do you have like a
I
different take on it?
I personally, I agree with you. I don't know why they ended with. I don't know why they didn't end with the Bad Bunny Damian Priest match, because here we have two guys, from Puerto Rico, of Puerto Rican lineage, having a match of high stakes, both
Mm-hmm.
representing the two arguably hottest factions in WWE. Damian Priest representing the Judgment Day,
Mm-hmm.
Bad Bunny representing LWO.
Yeah,
Um, it was main event material, and
it
I
was.
think that WWE missed the mark on that. Um, it it's so interesting. I have a couple of numbers here, because the return that popped you in Carlito did pop me as well, but the return that popped me was Savio Vega, and I think that having him give Bad Bunny the kendo stick with Rey Mysterio by his side. I think that it was very, very, and the entire segment, and I love that. I love the fact that that entire segment was in Spanish because that's how you do diversity. It's not accommodating or not trying to accommodate other groups of people based on what they can or cannot access. And I
Mhm.
just love the fact that they had, Savio Vega there giving that kendo stick that Bad Bunny eventually popped out, that Bad Bunny eventually brought out with him to his match. Now let's talk about this entrance before I talk about the match. Respect the fact that I think that that was one of the best entrances in the history of WWE.
Really?
I think that that was one of the best entrances in wrestling, period. If we're going to sit up here and we're going to call Chris Jericho's Judas entrance one of the best, which it is because of everybody singing his lyrics, then we need to do the same for Bad Bunny because that entire arena was singing word for word as he was going into the arena. And that scene with the drone shot, like,
That
that
was
was
fire. It
crazy.
was
That was
fire.
crazy.
I feel like a
Um,
legend
but
already.
that was
Yeah.
legendary. And Bad Bunny's kind of like context. This is a man, and I need people to put, because I don't know if the wrestling mainstream audience is familiar with Bad Bunny. Respect the fact that this man did the Met Gala,
Mm-hmm.
Coachella, and
Mm-hmm.
Backlash within the course of a week and a half. So to be in performing shape at one of the biggest music festivals in the world and then be in wrestling shape for arguably the biggest wrestling match of his career in his home country of Puerto Rico, we need to tip our hats off to Bad Bunny because it shows that he does take this a lot more seriously. Now, the match was great. I love the different spots. I love the celebration at the end. I love Carlito's return. But I'm not going to contradict anything that you said, but I just kind of want to add to it because while we're on the topic of Bad Bunny, I think that we have to read off some of the numbers pertaining to Bad Bunny. Because when Bad Bunny first debuted in WWE, what did we hear? What's a Bad Bunny? Who's a Bad Bunny? Da, 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 da,
Mm-hmm.
da, da. We don't want to Bad Bunny. That when Samantha Irvin said that Bad Bunny is the most streamed artist in the world, that's not like a gimmick. That's not like that's reality. He is
Mm-hmm.
the most streamed artist in the world. Period. End of sentence. But if we can take a look at the numbers that he's done for WWE, this was the highest grossing and most viewed Backlash in WWE history. 17,000 attendees at Backlash, 16.7 thousand attendees at SmackDown. Most social backlash of all time. Damian Priest and Bad Bunny had 40 million video views. Carlito's Return had 8.2 million video views. That was pertaining directly to the Damian Priest Bad Bunny match. So if we're counting
Wow.
both of those, that's about 50 million views on both of those pieces of content. It broke merchandise records for Backlash. And as of Tuesday, May 9th, Bad Bunny and LWO merchandise accounts for 9 out of the 10 top selling t-shirts on WWEshop.com.
Wow. That's
Bad Bunny
crazy.
isn't Bad Bunny isn't one of the top 10. He is the top 10. The only other person that was outside of the LWO spectrum that had a top 10 selling t-shirt this past week was Seth Rollins. So it goes to show you, and there's more. Sponsorship
There's
revenue
more.
was up by 98%. Viewership was up by 28%. And
Mm.
all of this information is available on corporate.wwe.com if you want to check out the press release.
Mm.
But when we're talking about a draw, when we're talking about a needle mover, we have to acknowledge Bad Bunny as a draw and as a needle mover. I think he's the second biggest draw in WWE, and right over him is Roman Reigns. Matter of fact, I'll put him and Roman Reigns on the same level
Yeah, I was
as
about
far
to
as their
say.
ability to draw because of
Mm-hmm.
just Bad Bunny's mainstream and crossover power and him being able to bring over his audience to WWE. So
Yeah.
we have to I just had to get that off about that Bad Bunny Damian Priest match. I think it was a great match. It was a great story. And I think it was a fantastic ending. I just think that that should have been the main event, and they missed the
I
opportunity with that.
agree. I 100% agree. The only other match that I actually liked about, I mean, of course, we have to discuss the ending. I'm gonna skip straight to like
Mm-hmm.
the argument of the night. The ending to Brock and Cody. I actually
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed the match, and I ended up being in the minority. I was in the
Right.
minority of people that was fine with the ending. Reason
Mm-hmm.
why I was fine with the ending was because Brock is a beast, but Cody can't afford to lose.
Mm.
So I don't normally agree with roll ups because they're very cheap. However, Cody is supposed to be built to be like an underdog,
Mm-hmm.
and like they're still making Brock still look, strong as shit, by having him beat the shit out of Cody, but Cody tried to, make the comeback and stuff like that. And we thought for a moment Brock had it. The only way that you could try to defeat someone that's bigger and stronger than you is to try to outsmart them. So was it
Mm-hmm.
a very cheap victory? Yes, it was a very cheap victory. I wouldn't recommend it for every time they fight one another, but you knew that this feud was going to continue. Like
Yeah.
you knew that it wasn't going to stop at that. So I don't think a clean win would have helped either party because Brock shouldn't look weak and Cody can't lose after losing at Mania. Like that's just
Right.
we can't do that. Now we have to rebuild him up and rebuild that story arc. So when he does win, it's more powerful because if he already lost and he lost again, we're just gonna look at Cody as just a lost cause or a loser. Because you know how wrestling fans are, y'all make your minds up very fast. So I was actually in the minority that was perfectly fine with the ending and thought that that was fine. My only issue is that the placement. That should have been something that like maybe you put it like second to last and then follow up with Bad Bunny because you would have been annoyed until you thought about it later on. But
Right.
then Bad Bunny would have came in and saved the day with everyone else, like Carlito and all that stuff. So that was just my personal opinion. But I want to hear your take on the finish between Brock and Cody.
I actually 100% agree with you. I the moment that I saw Brock busted up and the moment that I saw um that roll up, I knew that that feud was going to continue. And so
Yeah.
because of that, and it's ironic because the same way that kind of Cody kind of pulled off the victory against Brock is the same way that Brock pulled off the victory against Omos at WrestleMania. So I think that it's like kind of like a role reversal type of situation. I also just think that like you said, Brock is a beast. Cody is a lovable babyface. You want to keep Brock strong while keeping Cody the underdog and having him win in an unexpected way. And I think that they did that the right way.
Mhm.
Especially because Cody went into that triple threat the next night on Raw and Brock cost him the match. And it's like if Brock loses, you're not going. If Brock loses clean, is he going to be a believable beast? No, you're not. Like if Brock were to lose clean in the middle of the ring, that would have been the end of the feud, and there's nothing to progress towards. There's nothing left for kind of Cody to conquer in that story. Whereas if it's
Mhm.
a roll up, it's like it's a cheap victory. I'll come back, or Brock is going to come back and try to get his lick back, and then that's going to lead to a bigger match with bigger stakes. It extends that. It kind of buys Cody time as the bloodline story is still developing, which the whole spike or the him solo about to hit the spike, very interesting development.
Yeah, the
Um,
way Brock came back, like this being this like psychotic and evil, just like how dare you do that to me? How dare you outsmart me? Basically, type of shit,
right,
and just bullying the shit out of Cody to the point we felt bad for him. That's why we needed that. Like
right,
that's why, because Brock still, to some people, like they still haven't like shooken off how likable he is as a babyface since he's been more
yeah,
talkative and stuff like that. So we needed something to force that shift, and what else than to, have Cody like sneak win and then make him for real snap and go into full heel mode.
there it
So
is.
that's what I thought from it. Anything else you'd like to add?
Um, I'm trying to think. I think there are a couple of notes because I definitely that's why I was scrolling because I took notes on Backlash
I think
and
we missed one
I
match that was likable.
I don't think it was a matter of missing matches. I think we covered everything important, but I do think
Mm-hmm.
that there's two things. Number one, we can see that WWE is doing things that are a little bit edgier this
Mm-hmm.
time around. And it's in the little things though. Bad Bunny coming back to SmackDown in Puerto Rico with the WWF scratch logo jacket on. That was a sense of edge, right? Even down
Mm-hmm.
to the partnership with Mike's Hard Lemonade. I can't remember the last time that WWE had a alcohol sponsor. So
Oh
seeing
yeah, you're
that,
right.
I seen that, I was like, okay, I see the vision. So that's one.
Mm-hmm.
Two, we have to give a ton of credit to Nick Khan and Triple H for leading the charge on these international premium live events. Because I was thinking about it, they haven't missed. They haven't missed Clash at the Castle in the UK, Elimination Chamber in Montreal, and now we have Backlash in Puerto Rico. And now it was so successful that now talents want Puerto Rico to be the primary spot for Backlash. And this crowd was hot. All these international crowds have been hot. All these international crowds have been really, really good. And I think that it's because of Nick Khan and Triple H that they are able to kind of explore this avenue and flourish and be successful, because international events, having multiple international events within the course of a year was not something that we had expected from WWE 2 to 3 years ago. I mean, there were the Saudi shows, maybe I think there was like a Australia show, but like other than that, it wasn't territory that was heavily explored in comparison to their premium live events that were happening in the States. But I think that I just wanted to highlight that. But, you know, I think that kind of concludes kind of like our little dive into this. So we want to know what everybody else thinks about Backlash this year. Let us know in the comments below. But we're going to move on to our next topic.
We love the vocals.
We love the vocals. So, with Puerto Rico in the books, it looks like superstars are clamoring for another premium live event on international soil, and that territory is Mexico. Santos Escobar recently sat down with the Getting Over podcast to discuss the importance of Backlash in Puerto Rico, but also expressing that they should be the next step should be doing Aztec Stadium in Mexico City, which holds about 110,000 people. So my question to you, should Mexico be next on the list of places that WWE visits for international premium live events?
Oh yeah, why not? Why not? Especially with the magic we just created in Puerto Rico. I would love that. Rey Mysterio better be part of it. Better be. Fucking would love that. I would love to see I would see like a bunch of Mexican wrestlers and legends actually show up the same way that they did with Puerto Rico. I thought there's a lot you could play with that. And I mean, like, Mexico's like literally like the fucking biggest spot, man, with like wrestling. It's upsetting to me though, because my brain can't help but to think of Mercedes and how much she would love to have been like one of the big names, considering that like the whole arc of her being a wrestling fan's fucking Eddie Guerrero, you know? So
Yeah.
it's like a, coulda woulda been thing. But yeah, no, I think that going to Mexico is the next move. I'm actually surprised that it didn't happen sooner. But if they were to, when do you think, what season do you think they're gonna do that? Like, do you think they're gonna like save it for like a big pay-per-view like SummerSlam, or well, not this SummerSlam, but like maybe next SummerSlam? Like, when do you think would be a great time for them to stop in Mexico?
I think that a SummerSlam in Mexico City would be tough.
Yeah.
I think I think that's actually the perfect event, considering that either SummerSlam or Money in the Bank would be a nice little thing to do in Mexico. Because what I'm thinking is, like, if you do a show in in Mexico, I feel like it should have matches that showcase the Lucha Libre style. And obviously you have traditional matches like that, but you incorporate a ladder, by default, you're gonna get some stuff. But it's so interesting. So Santos talked about Mexico. Mia Yim said South Korea as a potential place, or a place that they should visit. But I think they should be able. I think WWE needs to do everything. Like, they need to go to every country. But as far as Mexico, I would definitely be open.
Why
to
Korea?
South Korea.
Why Korea?
I mean, when have we seen a WWE? When have we seen a premium live event?
It just seems like it would be
pay-per-view?
quiet.
Nah, that would be North Korea. That would be North Korea.
Oh,
because of the whole. There's a split. North Korea is very like dictator-esque. South Korea is very like democratic. But
okay.
South Korea, I would be open to that. I think that would be super tough. But Back to the main topic of Mexico.
You think they ever get to? I'm sorry to cut you off. You think that they'll
You're
ever
good.
go to Japan? Like, is there a way they can even go to Japan?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They did Japan like years ago. They did like the what was that, the Beast in the East special, where KO defended the NXT title against Finn Balor. That's where Finn Balor won the NXT title for the first
Oh
time in
wow.
Japan. So
They
it's
should definitely
possible.
do
I
that.
think that it's definitely possible. I just think that it's a matter of if, when, and how. So I mean, we'll see that, but I'm definitely down for them going to Mexico, and I think Money in the Bank would be a great
They need to
a
go
great
confront
thing.
Okada.
That would be tough.
To sing.
They listen. I wouldn't be surprised if they did a New Japan, if they did a WWE show in Japan, and there was some form of New Japan crossover. I wouldn't be surprised, but
Will Hunter? Yeah. Sorry. You have the
absolutely,
point you're trying
you're
to
good.
make. I just keep stammering on. Go on.
You're good. You're good. No, I was just gonna say, looks. We want to know what you guys feel about WWE possibly going to Mexico for a premium live event. Um, yeah, let us know in the comments. Tell us how y'all feel. But we are moving on. So these hands are hilarious. See, so it seems like Triple H's Twitter fingers have been a catalyst to a new discussion pertaining to popularity in pro wrestling. The current chief content officer liked a tweet that said the following: "Dude, if they're doing so poorly, why did Warner just give them another show? TV ratings are an outdated way to view popularity in today's world of cord cutting. Cord cutting. WWE has less than half of what they got 10 years ago, but are more profitable than ever." So, with that in mind, are television ratings still a relevant metric in measuring how popular a professional wrestling commodity is?
No, God, no. Um, Especially because we got like smartphones and stuff like that, and a lot of people nowadays with this fucking inflation, dude. Most people are like working two jobs and stuff, and they're just catching it when they can. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Like whether it's through YouTube, then they're getting the highlights. They're going on Twitter. They're going on whatever wrestling website that they could go on. I feel like you just need to pay attention to the streams at this point,
mm,
really, because like I don't know anyone that's actually making sure that they're home or they're off or they work a 9 to 5 just so they could be home at night to watch wrestling. It's unrealistic. Like right now we
mm,
live in like the day and age of conveniency, you know? And yeah, as they put it, you could tell that they're the most profitable between all of the collaborations with companies that they have and all these deals that they have. They're not doing bad. So I feel like when people get on these podcasts and they start chirping off saying, well, like this is the lowest rating they had since I don't know this year or 10 years ago or whatever, it's just like it's irrelevant because back then did they have this? No, they didn't. Like it's different. It's a different time now, So yeah, Hunter's really smart. He's always ahead of the curve, very progressive, so he knows what he's talking about. Like they're ahead of the curve with even us, so I agree. What do you think? Anything you have to add on?
I agree with that as well. Now, I do have a couple of things to add on to that. Um, like the tweet said, it's about cord cutting. And it's interesting because when we talk about the Wednesday night wars, right? When it was NXT and AEW going head to head, a lot of people were like playing small ball. Oh, this show got a 1.0 and this show got a 0.9137. That means AEW is insurmountably better. Ah! And it's like, dog,
The Elmo
it's
meme.
exactly. It's this the arm stretch victory while flames are surrounding you. It's so much and it's so excessive, and you can tell people that are still using TV ratings as a metric to measure success in today's creator economy and television and media business are clearly just not up to speed on what is relevant and what is prevalent in this time and age. Obviously, during the Monday Night Wars, the ratings mattered because the TV was the only real form of medium that was emitting visuals. You didn't have social media. The internet was not where it is today. So it's like
Nope.
everybody had to gather around the TV to watch. And,
Uh-huh.
and and the only exception is like if you had DVR, which you would have to tape to record and then watch it later. But it's like now I think that there's so much, like when you think about it, all these shows are now available for replay on the respective network website. So for USA, you can watch old episodes of Raw. You can go on Hulu to watch old episodes of Main Event and Raw and SmackDown. You can go to Peacock for the same thing. You can go to TNT or TBS to watch old episodes of AEW. And while the TV ratings may be public knowledge, the data that these companies are getting from these particular websites are exclusive to them. But what I can say is, even though it's not public knowledge, it doesn't mean that it isn't valuable to the companies that are hosting these wrestling shows. If TNT, if I'm not going to get into that because we're about to talk about that next. If WWE has been averaging anywhere from a 1.5 to a 3.5 in the past 5 years, but yet USA is still trying to run them $1 billion for 5 years, clearly there's something that we don't know. There's data that we don't have access to that is a
Yeah.
contributing or a major contributor as to why WWE is being ran more now, more money than they did during the Attitude Era. So clearly there's something that we don't know, but I think that it's obviously TV ratings. I think that it's streaming sites. I think that it's social media. And I think that it's also just the ability and just the fact that wrestling has, I think wrestling is the most resilient form of entertainment. When we look at what was happening during COVID, there was no new anything except for wrestling. Everything was a rerun except for wrestling. That adds an immense amount of value. Your ability to create new content in the middle of a worldwide pandemic automatically heightens your value as a company and as a content provider. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that, I agree that TV ratings are not everything, that there are so many other things that are contributing factors. Like we just talked about Bad Bunny and Damian Priest and how their video had over 80 million views. We're not even talking
Mm-hmm.
about the Bad Bunny entrance. We're not even talking about Carlito's return, but all of those video views matter. And considering that people are consuming more stuff online, who knows? Maybe online consumption means more than TV ratings. And the fact that every time a wrestling show is a trending topic on Twitter should tell you how valuable wrestling is. But that's my stance. Did you have anything you wanted to contribute?
Nope.
Schna? Well then, let us know. Let us know if you guys think that TV ratings are still a relevant metric in measuring the success of a wrestling show. But we're gonna move right along because it says apparently Tony Khan has a series of huge announcements that he's going to be making, specifically on the next episode of AEW Dynamite, and obviously we'll be here reacting to said news.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like there are rumors. I'm going to keep reinforcing that for the sake of legal purposes. There are rumors that AEW is set for a blockbuster deal. And here is a little bit of the details. 5 years, $1 billion. That includes streaming rights, and it includes streaming rights, television rights, and the ability to have AEW content on HBO Max, which is now being rebranded as Max after the merger of Warner Brothers Discovery. So I wanted to know, how do you feel about this deal?
That's pretty fucking good for them. Wow. Not like I'm pretty sure I saw this last show, and I'm just gonna, I guess, echo it again. Like they're doing pretty. If it's true, of course, because it's a rumor,
Right.
they're doing pretty goddamn good for themselves at an accelerating rate. Because this company's only been here for like 3, going almost 4 years. That's insane. $1 billion does. Yeah. How long did it take for like WWE to even pick up this type of pace? And what do you think contributed to this?
What do I think? So I think,
Yeah.
well, I don't. I have to figure out the timeline because I'm not particularly sure. But WWE went through like a series of things because WWE started to explode when Vince McMahon started buying up the local territories and then moving the product to cable television. And
Mm.
we first heard of WWE getting like $1 billion, I guess, in TV rights, like in the 2000s, really.
Hmm.
So I would say it took them about, from the time that Vince McMahon took over the company until when they got that $1 billion, probably like 20, 25 years, maybe 15 to 25 years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And but like to give it proper context, they got like $1 billion per show. Like they get $1 billion per, for Raw, $1 billion for SmackDown, and whatever else is like negotiable. So,
Word.
but it, but what I was gonna say, did you have anything to contribute? Because I was gonna go off. I want to
This
hear
is for
your
you
side.
because you better explain this than I can because I'm gonna give this to you.
I'm
You're
excited.
about to go off.
So we need to acknowledge. So when we talk about the growth and expansion of wrestling companies, I was thinking about just like popular forms of media, right?
Mm.
WWE is, if WWE was a medium, it would be television. If AEW was a medium, it would be Facebook. And I'll explain. It took
Facebook.
television, it took television, I think like 50 years for it to reach X amount of households. Facebook did it in exponentially more time, like exponentially less time. Let me actually look this up. Actually, hold on.
Wait,
How
what were the
many
comparisons again? Was it Facebook and MySpace? What?
Facebook and TV? So it's like how many households did TV reach? All right. So how many households?
I
So
want to watch
so
some
like think about
MySpace.
it, right? It went from 9%. So Americans households had, so in 1950 only 9% of American households had a television set, but by 1960 the figure had reached 90%. How many households did Facebook reach? I'm looking this up. I'm looking this up in real time, y'all. So how many users does Facebook reach? So it's like, dog on it. All right. So it's Facebook reached 2.9. What I'm trying to say is that it took AEW to get a WWE deal so much quicker than WWE did. But we have to acknowledge the fact that they're standing on WWE's shoulders. We have to acknowledge the fact that AEW walked into a field that was dominated by WWE, and because WWE reinforced the value of professional wrestling, AEW was able to come in, offer an alternative, show up, show out, and get an insane amount of money within the course of 4 years. When WWE it took WWE at least 15 to 20 to get close to this ballpark as far as a number is concerned.
Yeah.
Um, Also, we have to consider that this is a multi-platform, looks like a multi-platform deal. So this would include broadcast rights. This would include streaming. This would include probably having pay-per-views hosted on Max. So the same way that WWE has pay-per-views on Peacock, presumably is the way that AEW would have pay-per-views on Max. So all of this is just a really big deal. And if the fact that if they have reached, or if they are striking a deal that is $1 billion deal, that means that AEW is $1 billion company, because that $1 billion deal is an asset, right? It's an asset worth $1 billion. You take that, you couple it with all the things that they already own, and AEW is $1 billion company. So the fact that AEW within 4 years has become $1 billion wrestling company is insane and deserves to be celebrated, because that is not easy. It's not easy to run a wrestling promotion and to amass a following and a fan base that leads you to be $1 billion wrestling company. And they've grown so much, and they've done so much, and they've gone to so many territories. And now with All In, now like last time we were talking, they were talking about 46,000 or 43,000 tickets. I think it's at 60 or 70,000 now. That's
Jesus Christ.
insane. They're gonna sell out Wembley. All Elite Wrestling is about to sell out Wembley, and they're about to become a $1 billion company. And they did it their way. We talked so much about the fact that, oh, John Moxley bleeds too much, and the CM Punk thing, and da 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 da. And that's all well and good, right? But this is very, very important for wrestling, because one of the reasons that like WWE has been so successful is because they perfect their brand of wrestling. But there were so many other wrestling companies that tried to do what WWE was doing, because it was perceived that it's only if you conform to their way that you can be wildly successful. That's part of what led to the kind of like the demise of Impact Wrestling, right? Was that they
Yeah,
were trying
no.
to do a lot of WWE stuff, but it was just like you're not WWE. But to see AEW hit a $1 billion deal deserves to be celebrated, and I think that it's just an amazing major accomplishment. Tony Khan deserves to be proud. Also, it's they obviously the internet be internet, and they were talking about how the Boston show on July 19th was scheduled for a 7,200 seater show. It just got moved to the TD Garden. So
Oh
maybe that's a sign of the
wow.
times. Also,
Mm-hmm.
who's from Boston again? What wrestlers from Boston again that just left WWE that's been in New Japan that could, be making a nice little AEW debut?
Mercedes, but I also want Cena back now. Um,
Cena in AEW. But
yes.
I mean that
Just for a
I feel
one-time appearance, be funny.
just a one-time appearance.
Yes.
But I mean, like, seeing like this expansion, I mean, we could see a Mercedes Monet appearance in AEW. We'll see what happens. But outside of that, though, I'm over the moon about this news. This is great for wrestling. I said it in the last podcast. More TV means more money. More money means more people get paid. And more people getting paid means another environment where wrestlers can thrive and be themselves. And I love that. I love that for the wrestling industry. I love that for wrestlers. Um, and I listen, Summer's on the way because Thunder Rosa came back last night to Dynamite. Listen, John Moxley. I mean, not John Moxley. Don Callis turned against Kenny Omega. Miro came back last night. So something is going on, and I'm very, very excited for AEW. But much shout outs to them. But we want to know how y'all think, is All Elite Wrestling really set for $1 billion deal? And do you think that they're worth that money? I personally think that they are. But we're going to move on to the next topic. So, while we're talking about just kind of like revolutionary things, we've been talking about Impact quite a bit as it pertains to them picking up Trinity, who has been killing it as well. But it also seems like Impact Wrestling is getting into the NFT space. According to Fightful, Impact Wrestling is going to be having some NFTs launching in June. I'm going to read it verbatim. Impact Wrestling is getting into the NFT game. They announced that they will launch its NFT line in June. Santino Marella will be the first featured NFT talent. A line of Mickey James NFTs will be launched in the summer.
I want them.
And
I
it
don't
looks like they're
understand these, but I want some now.
so
You
they're
said
like
Mickey.
digital. I mean it NFT. Yeah, I want Mickey too, but uh NFTs, I think it's previously explained, they're like digital collectibles. They're non-fungible. The correct term is non-fungible tokens.
Mm.
However, in this context, they are digital collectibles that you buy and exchange on the blockchain. So you would pay a form of cryptocurrency for said item, and you would get this one of a kind unique item that's exclusively yours, um, for X amount of cryptocurrency. That cryptocurrency could be Bitcoin, it could be Ethereum, and that public record will all that purchase will be registered on the blockchain, which is kind of like a public record of the things that you buy in Web3. But that's a little just bit about NFTs. I didn't want to get super deep into it, but I just wanted your opinion on the fact that Impact Wrestling, this, in my opinion, the comeback story of pro wrestling as far as their ability to get talents and stuff. How do you feel like they're getting into new ventures and just new things in general? Do you think this is going to help the notoriety of the company? Let me know.
Oh, definitely. And I'm gonna be biased and call it the Mickey James and Naomi effect. I'm gonna come up with a ship name eventually, but for now, it's the Mickey James and Naomi effect because, um, like they've been around for a long time, but I don't think they've been like really taken seriously or consistently taken seriously. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, this is all very good for them because all I'm seeing from here is just like mini progressions for them working towards bigger deals. Because I
Mm-hmm.
find it really weird that Impact still isn't on like a regular TV channel. Like that to me it never made sense. Like I don't
Mm-hmm.
really watch Impact. I'm trying to get into it for my girl Trim, but I feel like this is massive for them. Like it's a little win to other companies, but it's a massive win for them because they really feel indie-ish. So for
Mm,
them to do this, it's like all right, like it's like a small little W towards being taken seriously as working their way up to being the major fourth promotion
mm.
in wrestling. So that's pretty cool for them. Happy for the wrestlers that are involved getting, I'm gonna say NXTs, being involved in the NFTs. I'm gonna try to get on that way once I fully understand it, even though Jordan did explain it to me not once but twice now. Jordan, how do you feel about this?
I I feel like it's amazing. I'm a big proponent of Web3. I think it's the future of fandom, of music, of collectibles, of art. I
Yeah.
think it's just the future of everything. But I think that what's more important than the item itself or the fact that they're getting into this space is just what them getting into this space means. It means that
Mm,
they're a wrestling company that's not afraid to try new things. They're not afraid to think out of the box, to be different, to be innovative. Like you said, the star power of Mickey James helps. The star power of Trinity helps. But I also think that you don't do these things unless you know you have a community of people that are willing to support you. And Impact is starting to regain that community. Impact is starting to
mhm,
regain that fandom. And they, once again, the same way that AEW is now, you know, gaining this success by being themselves, Impact is starting to rebuild by being themselves. You know, you don't hear about Impact trying to do anything that is similar to WWE or AEW. They're just kind of doing themselves. And along the way, they're picking up a lot of great talents, putting on a lot of solid stories and matches, and just, you know, shaking up the wrestling world. And I just think that this is another one of those ways that they can do that. So I'm really, really happy for them. And I think that it's just saying that Impact is on the rise again. I don't know if it'll be on the same level as it was when you had the AJ Styles and the Samoa Joes and the Bobby Lashleys and the
and the
Perk
perk
Angles. Yes,
angle.
I said Perk Angles. I said Perk. I said Perk Angle. But and this is another thing. The reason why I don't think that it's on a bigger platform is because of who is owning them. I think they're owned by Anthem Sports or Access TV or something along those lines, and that channel isn't necessarily accessible to everywhere or to everyone or to every cable provider. And because of that, it's not widely available. Also, it's time slot because I think it comes on at like 10. So it's like it's already not on the most accessible channel because of who owns it. And then on top of that, the time slot doesn't make it any better. Actually, I think it may come on at 8 now. I'm not completely sure. But outside of that, though, they're doing their thing. And at least they're putting the full segments up on their YouTube and making it accessible. So I'm really, really happy for Impact Wrestling. But I wanted to know what everybody else thinks. How do y'all feel about Impact Wrestling getting into the world of NFTs? Let us know in the comments below. I'm gonna put my there we go. Also, shameless plug, and totally unrelated to anything. Liquid Death. If you're looking for a wrestling podcast to sponsor, hit us up. But
Word.
anywho, thank y'all so much for tuning in to this episode of Culture 316. We'll be back next week, and we'll also be back for our back-to-back spaces at the end of the month with Night of Champions and what was the other? What was the other? What was it? And Double or Nothing. But thank y'all so much for coming through, and we'll see y'all next week.